Yeah, we gotta reconnect. Perfect. Alright. Thank you. Thank you, Council. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system. It exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with a new witness taking the stand. A visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes. Your Excellency? Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea. Somebody bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea. Oh man, that's offensive. Some English people just drink like Blogger. They just drink Bass Ale and break the can on their foreheads. It's not always tea. Maybe she's an ale gal. Is that true? No idea.
So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonoga. I have been working undercover as a head waiter at...
Yes, we know you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. But that sounds pretty sexist, if you ask me. Being like, oh man, the gentleman, let's let the delicate lady talk. It's like, she can speak up. I have faith in her. More importantly, a little earlier, you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of. I thought he was calling Kazuma a woman. It's like, Ryunosuke, are your woman... Kazuma, are your womanly intuitions correct about this? Do women like you really like this? It's like, why would you assume I'm a woman? Is it because I end up taking the submissive side in this? How dare you? Judgmental Ryunosuke. You said your powers of observation are one thing you're sure of, so how can you not know how women in Britain act? You stupid oaf. Oh yes, I was thinking I did, didn't I? Yet your description for this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are surely lacking. Guilty.
So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you with your name and occupation, please.
See, oi lad, how about a trip to, how about that Arsenal game last night? Oh, it was a real walk-off. They really walked it in.
I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but what the fuck?
Oh, it's how have you been walking this in? What is walking it in? Please explain this to me. What on earth is the EastEnders?
Have you seen the ludicrous display last night?
The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student currently enrolled in Yume University's medical facility.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear the dulcet tones of the beautiful language of the British people. English! That's what the Death Note is written in. But I don't understand a word you said. But it was beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
Oh man. It's like when American people listen to like J-pop and they're like, "Oh man, I don't know what this anime OP is singing, but I love it." I don't know what city pop like what the city pop like translates to, but this song is beautiful. As far as I can tell, the detective is translating her words very faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've been clearly speaking English this entire time, Ryunosuke. The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago at the restaurant called Le Carnival, grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe you were dining there with the victim at the time. Is that correct? She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak Japanese? Skill issue on the level of Brett. Mr. B. The British Museum. She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. Oh boy. Wait. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind to cast your eyes over this photographic print? See as you were there, so unfortunately present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of the wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently, it's very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say... Yes, it would appear the lady didn't witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order! Order in the court! Was she gonna speak English to the class? I guess she was going to speak English. Because what's it called? Everyone was visiting to Japan. So apparently, like, they would both have to have at least learned a little bit of Japanese to be a presenter.
We have absolute conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear to who our real enemy is. The country of Great Britain. Unfortunately, I have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight that you described. I had arranged for a meeting to a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered for myself only a beef steak. After a while, the accused crime came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before him, in my eyes. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Snow White's angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you imagine those whose words the court is going to believe.
You're still making the same mistake, Ryunosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course, I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and 2 witnesses who testified, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless. However, well, even so, on the day in question, the wet lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there's nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. I would think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Racism in the court? Yeah. Aouchi is very much like doing all of these microaggressions to me.
Oh, the white lady and her British voice is so beautiful. Unless and until the precise location where the witness is to have a hidden weapon that can be shown, this is mute.
There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words in the matter. Ugh, that's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Ryunosuke. Sexual harassment is still a crime. But I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that. Which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, and that's what we're proving now. And to do so, we'll need to pull her testimony apart. Oh man, the smile. Ooh, that's evil. Ooh, that's big evil. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Okay, we're going to grill. We're gonna grill these folks. Oh! Yes! We have all of our stars back. Now I can make all the mistakes I want. I have arranged a meeting for a slightly late luncheon that day. The professor was unable to eat, so I ordered myself only a beefsteak. Let's see, when death occurred a little after 2. Shot from the front. Let's see that thing again. Oh, there's just food only. The waiter's business card. Crime scene. Medical record. Alright, so let's just keep on.
Yes!
Oh. Let's press on this. After 2 p.m. in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it?
Objection!
You don't keep up with the latest fashions from Britain, do you? Late luncheons are in vogue, isn't that right?
No.
No.
Ugh. A decisive English no has quite a sting to it. The gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it's apparent that a daily occurrence that they would have lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes. which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted as evidence earlier. Let's see. So apparently a daily occurrence where they have lunch together on the day the victim had another appointment. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which was why it was so late. Yes, that all makes perfect sense.
Such wonderful logic. A shining example of English intelligence this fine gentlewoman has.
So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Let's see, unable to eat. They got into a fierce argument. Let's press this. I never got into an argument. All I did was when I noticed him, I went over to say hello. Please, don't get angry with me. Oh, no, I wasn't directing that retort at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not.
Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyways. English is the future. We must all supiku Ingrishu.
Man, this is rough. Even just saying that out loud, I'm like, what did I just say? What did this game make me say? I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever. Or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Man, Kazuma's like, I'm not. Well, that beautiful woman's telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. Man, Ryunosuke and Kazama, not for beautiful women. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it can be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. That part lies with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I had some coffee to drink. And then next time you got up after that was when I finished my coffee and stood up to leave. What is going on? The British love in this game is strange. Yeah. I think because it's something that takes place at like the turn of the century, a lot of it's just kind of like pretty much about like the Japanese fascination with like the new English culture and whatever like they were bringing in export wise. The accused took a gun. I don't carry a gun myself, so I couldn't have been the culprit. So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor at the end, which you shot him. Which is an out-and-out lie. Still, her statement is very compelling. After all, she's elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform. You would have done a lot better if you wore the spandex, as I told you. Or the Speedos. You always like those when we bring them to swimming trips. Why the sudden change, Ryunosuke? I'm dressed exactly the same as you are, except for the flapping red ribbons. Well, anyway, this is our chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, the trial's over. Even you with your thick skin must be able to feel the murderous look you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And for the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency in her testimony isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is to press her on any of her statements that feel off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself, I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind a mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Alright, so I pressed her on mostly everything. Let's see. In front of your eyes. You can't... Let's see. I don't carry a gun.
Yes!
Let me see where you could carry a gun. It's all very well saying, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, immediately after the incident. I checked to make sure the lady wasn't carrying a weapon. I distinctively remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not?
The honorable English gentleman clearly said she did not possess a weapon. There's no need to probe her further on the matter.
Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps.
Think what you will, but if you're going to continue with this claim of a refined lady concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts.
In other words, he wants evidence. The lady wishes to point out that, of course, she wanted to stay and assist with the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give the presentation, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get the woman out of there. No, get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out she was in no way intending on running away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she only was happy to cooperate and testify here in this court today, of course.
Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. You could at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you.
So she's maintaining you got into an argument with the professor at the end, which you shot him. Let's see. It would be the eyes. I think it's because of her mask. I have to skip through all this. It's the same thing, just getting the cross-examination. Late luncheon, unable to eat. Right in front of your eyes.
Yes!
Like I said, I did not shoot the gun. And like I said, there's no point in repeating an assertion over and over. God, not Cosma dunking on me. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side.
Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shots rang out, you had a gun in your hand.
Well, yes, that's true, but all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes, there was someone much closer to the victim than me at the time. The highly suspicious lady.
That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel.
Dirty?
Your baseless accusation could cause an international incident. Boy.
Not the boy part. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. I gotta remember the Goku line from, like, Frieza. He was like, "You only keep calling me monkey because you're weak. Your insults don't have any effect on me. Calling me boyo is not going to make me not any more innocent than I am already."
What nonsense.
The lady was merely stating what she saw. This is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned anyway. Alright, I don't carry a gun, it could have been a culprit. So it would have been the teeth thing. Unable to eat, so ordered itself just a steak. He was unable to eat, as you say. And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Hota Clinic, correct? That's right. Oh, you're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She heard the professor was to have some dental treatments. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have here is shown exactly as it left. Exactly as it was left.
Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have traveled this distant land, in a far world and embroidered in tragedy. Have no fear, my dear lady, I shall crush this evil fiend that has subjected you to such a terrible plight.
So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat and drink at all? That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. So it appears the diners toasted their lunch to a glass of water each. They raised a glass of water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? See, I suppose it's very meaningful. I guess that them having it there. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case.
Well, well, how fascinating. Do tell us what is profound bearing,
The significance of the statement will come apparent when the time is right. The defendant calls for the witness's last stand to be formally admitted to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well, Miss Brett. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to the official testimony. Gladly, she said. That was brilliant, Kazuma. I'm gonna remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I should really use that phrase. I'd hope there's some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ryunosuke. Let's see. Because it wasn't carbonated water, it was wine. The crime scene is as it's left. You gotta show this crime scene photograph. Cause yeah, that's wine, isn't it? It's not water. Let's see. Let's present. Objection! Oh. Holy shit.
Yes!
Yes! Oh, that's it! Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That's correct, the lady says. Well, that's odd. Very odd.
Dear me, what's the defense inability to express itself?
Ryunosuke, what is it about the print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, there should be 2 glasses on the table, not one. Ah. You're quite right, counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by the nitpicking over a minute, eh? What possible difference does the presence and absence of a glass make in this case?
Minute, you say? Could it be the detective here removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you gonna try to tell me you can't clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table. Love how you looked this side before speaking. Yeah, like breathing into the side of the mic before the Chocolate Rain song. I remember that. I always love it. It's like you almost get startled when he like puts his hand on the table and just sort of looks and he's like, I need to be commanding, but I'm a little nervous about it. What? It was so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and I thought I would hide the fact that it'd been there, she's saying. Good gracious. That ass is also bodacious.
Sorry. There. As I assured to the court before, this is of no coincidence.
Oh, please.
We must remember the student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? Do we take that you are going to accuse this vulnerable, young, and beautiful woman of mischief?
What? No. This can't be put down to mischief. I'd like to know exactly how the lady took the glass from the sink. It would seem she slipped into a small handbag she was carrying. Gun! There would be a gun in there. A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellence, a small handbag pouch, commonly carried by well-to-do women of England.
So, the beautiful lady graciously explained on how she removed a glass from the sink. However, the fact remains that this glass was absolutely no bearing on this case. This student was trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning, but in the end it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You've wasted enough time already.
Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed the glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel of defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. Ask about the handbag. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. If there's deeper significance there, then I need to know what the handbag is for. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say?
Yes, try to keep up. It's already been explained that the English woman carries bags for small items.
Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There are no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what she forgot to mention was her handbag. Oh. Which would be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too.
All the while insinuating? You vile blackguard.
It's very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he did, he didn't fire the gun. We can deduce that there must be some other fire on the scene. That true weapon murder? The true murder weapon, if you will.
You can't be seriously suggesting.
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes. Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? Yeah, Theseus. I know Theseus and Hades love to say blackguard a lot. But I guess it's just a common saying. At least back in this era. No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hidden in Mrs. Brett's handbag.
No!
Order, order, order.
What is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The meaning of what, Professor Aruchi?
Why on earth did you not have the lady open the handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations.
Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Cosma? Oh no. The bloody cough. Well, that's a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the process. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting. Simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. I have a piece of evidence here I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. This print is a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting. As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You could see what's right through inside. That's right. Apparently, meshwork handbags like these are the height of fashion in London, it seems. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. There was no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, it would have been immediately obvious. Oh yeah, it's really bendy. Like, what's these twists? As you can see, there's nothing that implies Mrs. Brett's guilt here. Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san.
What?
Order, order! Inspector Hosonaga, I will submit that print as evidence at once. Yeah, it's getting really awesome upon it. I think it's really starting to heat up. It's like, how do you even get this far? Certainly, Your Excellency. The photograph of the handbag has been entered in the courtroom. Yeah, it's like, this is pretty crazy. Like, exactly how far do you have to go? Oh man. I think we've had long enough to cross-examine the witness counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence, as the photographic print just submitted in the court record appears to have no further significance. I am satisfied there is no longer any room of doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, and there's only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over on the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I had beginning to turn things around, I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? What do you mean? This is it?
I must say you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak are meat while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There's no way to defeat true justice. The fact that you would chew on your heart's content from inside your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really gonna be found guilty of a crime I didn't commit? Oh no, Kazuma, don't give up on me. Kazuma, his dream of going to study to Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Man. Kazuma. What? Is there no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing around that last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there's no basis we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we can report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, having considered all evidence placed before me,
Yes!
I hereby... Yes! Wait! Your Excellency! Ryunosuke, I don't think you can rule on this case yet.
This amateur is just getting tedious. When His Excellence deems the trial is over, he's giving his ruling. This is the most basic protocol of the court. Yes!
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As photographic evidence just submitted appears to have no further significance. There's no longer any room of doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now that means if there was a problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on this case at the time would be out of the question.
That's straw clutching. Look at the photographic print. All it shows is the handbag this gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with the evidence.
You'd better know what you're doing, Ryunosuke. I understand your objective, Counsel. Certainly new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how any glean of new information on this handbag.
My thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I'm desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I'll grant access one final opportunity. But be warned, if I'm unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So take another look at the photographic print Mr. Hosonaga submitted before. You will identify to the court in this print. We see the significant detail which you've alluded. You will identify to the court where in this print we see. Let's see, so it's definitely not the bag. What is this? What is this weird wrist burn or wrist mark? This feels really odd. Why is it on this guy's arm? He shouldn't have that. Oh, present.
Yes!
Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. It is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Dear me, I was wondering what new piffle you'd worry about. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Clearly it has nothing whatsoever to do with the magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of the death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn. There's no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself...
The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued on the curious shape of the mark. However, as the prosecutor points out, unless it's a firm connection to the case, I will not allow any further time to be spent on the details of this burn.
Psst, 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 psst.
Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brent has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyways.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn has something to do with the case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging and hope that it might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right. I am. If we can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we'll be able to prise this shutting door back open again. Prise this shutting door back open.
Just give it up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed, I'm afraid without evidence, I will not allow you to pursue anything more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn to the victim's wrist, then would you allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find some evidence that proves what the burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. The evidence that demonstrates this connection. Let's see. It is going to be something on this, let's see. Photograph of the victim now. It would be lit. Oh, that's it. It was definitely part of the plate. I was like, he had to have pressed his hand on something. Oh man, he had like a sizzling, this was like a nice fajita platter. Man, he should have gotten that. Maybe he wouldn't have gotten killed. Or at least he would have been able to be able to do some Jason Bourne shit if he ate like a fajita instead of a steak. Or if she had the fajita, like she could, like they could pull out a gun and like the professor would just be able to Jason Bourne like sort of like a steak knife out of there, a fajita knife, rather than this dinky little butter knife. It's this guy. Is this fella.
Yes!
What's this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe the photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans looked at the scene, we missed things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore.
Do hurry up, rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further is inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to sit here longer with us, if you don't mind, Miss Brett. You see, it's very clearly visible in this photograph. How did the victim come to have an unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
Objection!
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, let's see how it plays out. What in this photograph explains your reasoning for the burn?
It would be this guy. Yes.
Yes!
Yes!
The beefsteak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the steak was served on.
A plate? Oh! Your Excellency, you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess it's some sort of trademark at Le Carnival. Ugh! This emblem on the plate. And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Ryunosuke, you genius. You're spot on. Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant.
Objection!
But even if that's the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. It most likely happened in some other time.
Well,
Objection!
Sadly, Professor Aouchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks.
Why?
The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion at the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga? I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at the picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not particularly large, it's extremely well defined, as the defense pointed out. This was no mild burn, that's for sure. Man, the chills platter. Can you be more specific, Inspector? Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating the restaurant several weeks already. I have not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter!
Yes!
There you have it. Something isn't right here. Oh man, he stopped looking at his hand. As the detective said, anyone who burned themselves on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet, Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day and any before it. That's right, and the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. Yeah, confidence. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carefully laid his wrist onto the plate for anything like 3 seconds that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. And the rest of us in the restaurant, myself, the sergeant, the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without a question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Professor Aouchi?
Well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it, Ryunosuke. Do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive to the conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of that makes sense of this apparent impossibility. On the day of the trial in question, when he suffered the burn to his wrist, Dr. Wilson... Omae wa shinderu. No man could remain silent while his wrist was burning on a piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Apart from one particular situation. Counsel, what are you suggesting? Yes, it's only possible. If the Omaiwa was already shinderu'd.
Already?
Shinderu'd? Knowing what we know now, it's only possible. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead.
That's madness!
Order, please, Counsel. Explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot?
That's right, absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly it has no grasp of the facts.
Objection!
No, Professor Ouchie. It's you who has no grasp of the facts.
I beg your pardon?
As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered a burn while at the restaurant, this whole case has been turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from the witness again. If it's true as we now believe, then the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard. It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about this.
Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement.
But Your Excellency...
The justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I can be prepared to pass judgment.
Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours.
Oh!
Miss Brett? You speak Japanese?
Well, of course I do. I was studying in your country after all.
But then, why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now?
My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible.
Oh man, xenophobia.
But it seems the men of this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of an English gentleman. So I can see what I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you, all on your own level.
Oh, well... You are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this lavish consideration you graciously afford us.
I see. In that case, Miss Brett, you will now have to testify in your own words about the evidence leading to the death of the victim. So we're finally going to hear her own words from the matter. Things are getting really interesting, Ryunosuke.
Unfortunately, I have no idea why the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report shows no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't have picked up on it anyways.
Yeah, would have been through some, like a drink. Ooh, the toast. Yeah, raising your glass if you were wrong. And down and dirty, pretty little freaks. Yeah. Dirty little freaks. The most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. Easy does it.
I hope that's the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I hope I haven't insulted anyone.
Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, my dear lady. It seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of a victim's burn is utterly irrelevant.
I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today.
The Minister of Justice?
May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen.
Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you're gonna have to forgive the irritation, Mrs. Brett. And I put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. Oh man, he doesn't miss. Oh man. As you notice, my partner, Ryunosuke, cooks quite well. He's been cooking all day, actually. He never misses. He always cooks. So when you ask yourself at night, what was he cooking? You're about to find out right now. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, Counsel, this will be your final cross-examination. If you fail to demonstrate problems, you are automatically going to be guilty. I will click a button, you will fall through the floor. Understand? You understand, Austin Powers, that's British film. If you were cultured enough, you'd know. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the prosecution. You may proceed with the cross-examination. Let's see. We gotta find a couple. Let's see, we got... I have no idea when the poor man's wrist was like that. We raised our glasses for a toast. The post-mortem report showed no possibility. If there's some other way a life can be taken. Of course, this country's inferior investigation techniques. So prejudiced. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I don't know, this could be hard work. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give it away. This English woman knows all too well. She's quite formidable. The burn tells us something for sure. First things first, I'm going to press her on everything she said and make her blurt something out. What is it, Kazuma? What are you thinking? Oh, don't worry. It's nothing. Let's see. 3, 4. Alright, so if this country's investigative techniques are so bad, what does it say about the dude on the right? Like, I want to press this dude's thing just to be able to say, Hosonaga, if, like, she's, like, knocking on your evidence and your procedures. What does that say about everything you told us up until now?
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that?
In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at the crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right. Le Carnival is open for business today, just days after the incident.
Exactly. Which means that even the investigation takes a different direction. Vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your native detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I am trying to be as tactful about this as possible. You can understand.
Aha! Killer blow! The lady's as formidable as she is beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Professor Aouchi is starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Yeah, Hosonaga's not happy about that. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up new info. Yes, as I expected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue to help us find a kink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is something I noticed. Something that was bothering me. Bothering you? You mean... bothering you about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to her last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might be presenting an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on the last statement once more. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, once I press her on her last statement again. Let's see. Unfortunately, I have no idea what the poor man's risk like is life. Let's see. Fire, post-mortem. Man's life. Inferior technique, let's see. Wait. Investigation. What do you think? Oh, wait, no. Hold on, let me skip through this. Kazuma's imagining us naked. Yeah, that is definitely something that Kazuma's... whenever he looks to the left-hand side, it's like, ooh, naked. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let's see. Oh, shit. Come on. At the bottom of the screen, let's see. Let's press again. 2.
Yes!
Wait.
There it is. That's the ticket. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue this man. I don't know about that. He's a little on the old side. I feel like we'd have nothing in common. I feel like we have a little bit more going on with this Kazuma than me and this guy. Sorry, pursue. I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. Yeah, it's like Kazuma. I don't know about this guy's vibe. Trust me, Ryunosuke. He'll be a good third wheel. All we have to do is find the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person making the personal statement. But by moving the marker left with the buttons, you can turn the attention to the other person on the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them. Catch the person at the right time, and you'll uncover new info. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people in this stand, take a good look. So you move the marker across. Alright, then pursue with A. You're saying these things out loud. Even if the investigation was taken,
Wait.
I was lost. Pursue.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, miss. Sorry from across the room. Now I gotta admit that you got my attention with all that cough say out. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking of something just now, investigator. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there is something you'd like to say, please, share it with the court.
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then it should be over.
Oh, this is how it works? Absolutely not.
Hmm?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a witness. Oh, now he's doing the same thing. Yes, not to mention the fact that she's immediately involved with the case. Intimately involved with the case. Inspector Hosoda. Yes. Do you have something to add in relation to the statement made? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved with flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of a crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Man, imagine just, like, I admit that I steal a lot from those. There are quite a few used condoms I've taken from the crime scene. There's a couple times I've stolen a PlayStation 5 from a residence, and no one's ever caught me or told me anything. That's just a perk of being an investigator. You know, you get invited to these places, it's kind of like you get like a little souvenir. Oh man, I'm gonna miss this place. Time to steal the PS5. Great times. Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this for example. Is that? This is a bottle of the carbonated water I took from the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. It's not static. It tastes perfectly fine. TV static would be if you'd licked an actual television. Drinking La Croix or other like sparkling waters, even White Claw, that's perfectly fine. Don't judge me just because I have refined taste. Yes, there is some left in the bottle, I can see. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time has come, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but that was pretty awesome. Please tell me more about other things you've taken from crime scenes. My daughter could use a Nintendo Switch. The court will accept the glass of water as evidence. The carbonated water bottle has been entered into the courtroom. The victim is Brett shown the scene. It was on the victim's table. So, Amana, remember that thing you were saying about poisoned water? Well, it seems like it would be very suspicious if this water had anything to do with the crime. Miss Brett, can you confirm this is the bottle that you drank from on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle.
What was that about? It seems she averted her eyes when she answered the judge's question. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Alright, let's see. 2, 3, and then 4. If there was some other way a man's life can be taken, please do show me. Let's see how a life could be taken with this.
Yes!
I can be. Yes, you can be my Kazuma. That's okay. That's all good. I'd accept that. What's this? A bottle of water. Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Can't trust a big butt and a smile. That bottle has poison. 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 On the day of his death, we know Mr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after sipping his drink? Order, order! And on that day, who was sitting on the same table as the professor and was able to slip poison into his drink? There's only one person who could have done it. Giselle Brett, it was you.
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest a thing without a scrap of evidence, you rookie imbecile. Have you considered the delicate situation our country's in? Have you forgotten we've only signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one's crime.
What?
The fact is, this woman is British makes no difference. We're here to determine the truth.
If I may.
I will silence you forever with this
Whoop.
It was you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady.
Where'd that come from? She just snapped. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
I am afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my humblest apologies.
I'm sorry, what are you referring to?
I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course.
You did?
Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And? What did you find?
I ordered the test for every toxin that's available. We could find no trace of poison.
What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself.
Oh, no! I'm very grateful for all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence from this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pressure's ours.
I was so short. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, Counsel. I think the cross advantage has clarified everything.
As the prosecution asserted, the shot from the chest is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great convenience this has caused you.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter was resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel of the defense. Do you have any further evidence to present the court at this point?
Kazuma. I'm sorry.
Ryunosuke, I have nothing more.
Well, if you excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Oh shit. Ooh, twist. Please, wait.
Isn't that...
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding our court procedures, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant of the Defense.
Mikotoba. In the darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in a furokoshi cloth. To be continued. I'm going to save, and I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. I will be right back. After some of these messages.